Welcome to Next for Me, a new resource that connects and inspires our generation to evolve post 50 life through new work, a new purpose, or a new social contribution. Find us at nextforme.com.
On October 4th, Next for Me is joining New York State Senator Robert Jackson, Silvernest, and AARP for an event, the Mature Workplace Forum and Job Fair. It will be held at the Riverstone Senior Life Services Center at 99 Fort Washington Avenue in New York City. Senator Jackson started as a school board president, where through his strong advocacy with his campaign for fiscal equity, the system was awarded $16 billion for New York City schools. During his 12 years on the city council, he sponsored the Small Business Job Survival Act and fought for justice and equality. And now, as a state senator, is championing public education, workers' rights, climate justice, gun safety, and more. Hope Kay is one of Senator Jackson's constituents. At 57, as part of a reorganization with her employer of 25 years, she was let go, and her story of her way back to stable employment took many turns. She chronicles her endless online job applications, counselors, LinkedIn and resume upgrades, even knocking off 10 years of her experience, and then depression. There was at last a break, and she joined a firm that welcomed her into their intergenerational team. Then another reorg, and another long and disappointing search, and finally she was offered a job at $15,000 less than she had been making. But she is glad she has finally landed, for now. We welcome Senator Jackson and Ms. Kay in this interview.
Sure. So, as you know, this is dealing with a mature workforce forum and job fair that we're having because who's we? Myself and others that work with me, for example, Joanna Garcia, who's my chief of staff, and knowing individuals such as Hope, such as an employee that I currently have. She's 50 years old and was let go after 18 years working for a health insurance company and was searching for work for months and months and months and did not land anything, she said, until after she gained employment with my office. Then she got several offers, and even some of them were paying more money, but she wanted a job that was going to give her the sense of satisfaction and the fact that, it's more community-based and not necessarily she may go to this new health insurance carrier and then 3 or 6 months later she's out of a job again. So
Right. So we hear these stories quite a bit. Yeah, Hope's story we've heard again and again, and part of it, like the colleague that works in your office now, they want something as well as a job. They want to start thinking about their legacy and their place in the world and all of those things. So that's great to hear. From our side, we're a resource for 50 plus workers. So we publish weekly newsletter about jobs and mindset, and we publish job guides and other resources people can use to sort of navigate the things that Hope went through. And then we host events across the country, and when we get people together and discuss work and financial readiness and what's next. So we're really looking forward to joining you on Friday.
Thank you.
The way the program will work is there will be some talk in the beginning for the first hour with you, AARP, our good friends at Silvernest, and myself. And we're happy because this fits into our mission, and we're trying to keep people working and building a realistic financial plan for their futures. So
I appreciate.
I might ask
let me just say, I appreciate that very much, and because I say that to you because myself, I am called by some of my newer colleagues. I'm a brand new state senator, even though I've been a legislator for 12 years in the city council before I became a state senator. One of my colleagues, who is Jessica Ramos from Queens, she's, I guess, approximately early 30s. She calls me Uncle Bob. And I say that with endearment, understanding that I have children that's older than she is and about the same age. Our daughters are 44, 39, and 32, and I'll be 69 in December. So I guess I'm part of that mature workforce that I was just re-employed as a legislator. But I say to you, Jeff, that even going back when I was in city council, I had other staff that were very much mature. And let me just tell you, it's important to me as an individual, as someone. I remember the first 2 employees that I hired when I was in the city council, and that was in 2002. And one of the secondary reason, the primary reason, one, they were involved in my campaign. That's number one. And number two, that both families did not have health insurance, and both of them had children. To me, you got to help your people, and that's part of helping our people.
Absolutely. And health insurance being tied to your employer is a losing proposition. It's such a wedge of control over the employee to employer relationship, I would say. That
if you're trying to control somebody, you know what I mean? It's a blessing when you have health insurance and you enjoy your job and don't have to say, well, I got to get up and go to work tomorrow morning. Not with that attitude, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So you were hearing these things around you. You have some experience in your own office of intergenerational workers and how that can work together. What was your intention when you were planning this forum?
The intention is, for one, discuss the area of employing, re-employing mature individuals, and knowing what some of the trials and tribulations that are people going through in order to get reemployed, to bring income into themselves and their families. And understanding, I worked 23 years for a labor union, and I do know that people that are knowledgeable will not outright discriminated against you because of your age. But then I've heard things as, well, a lot of individuals that are older, they're not as flexible in carrying out duties and responsibilities. You hear things such as, well, younger people, you can hire them, they're more flexible, you can pay them less money, things like that. Even to the point where you hear sometimes, well, if you hire an older individual, they may have some additional health problems where a younger person may not. All kind of stuff like that. And I say that's nonsense. You're talking about individuals with a lot of experience that could help you, whoever the you is, the employer, do the job, manage employees and people that are healthy and strong. And I say that because, like I said, I'll be 69 in December, and I'm healthy and strong, God willing, you know what I mean? And that many people are like that. So you have to give people the opportunity and don't discriminate against them because of their age or any other reason, That's what it was about.
Great.
Is and there also, anything if I could just say something relative to what Robert said, and then look at the Social Security benefits. What is the age that now that you can claim the full benefit? 66. Okay, so that's another issue. I mean, and if I were to claim it at 62 versus 66, I'm giving up hundreds of dollars a month.
Right.
So I have no choice but to work till I'm 66.
Right.
if not beyond.
And of course, Hope, we're all living 20 to 30 years longer than the previous generation too. So
correct.
That the how long your savings are going to last is a moving target, and it's got to last a whole lot longer, and that's hoping that Social Security will last somehow. The numbers don't make sense, but somehow they keep paying those benefits out.
But Jeff, when it comes to savings, there are many families, and I don't know, maybe 50% of families don't have the savings in order to carry them as a family for any long period of time. I mean, obviously, if you're employed and earning a lot of money that you can put away in a 401k or any other type of investment, knock on wood, better for you. But the average individual family, they're trying to struggle if they have even 2 to 3 months of income in order to support themselves and their family. If in fact they become unemployed, it becomes an issue and concern. So, and then that's why in New York State, Jeff, New York City and New York State is considered the point for unionism because of the fact that, benefits, pension, health insurance, the paid vacation, paid sick leave, these are the things that are very, very necessary. So let me just say me for an example. I worked for the state of New York from 1975 to 1980 investigating fraud. And I had the opportunity to join a pension, but I did not because I needed the $20 more per pay period to support my family. But I'm a member of a pension right now, a New York City pension, and because I worked in the city council for 12 years, and then I added the 4.5 years I had with the state of New York. I had to buy it back, but I have a small pension from the city, and then from a labor union that I worked for 23 years. So myself, I wish that everyone was in the same situation when they became a mature adult and looking to retire, that they can retire with dignity and respect and not have to work for another job at McDonald's or somewhere else in order to live.
Yeah, and pensions in the rest of the country are a thing of the past, and
I agree.
They went away. People are paying more for their health insurance along the way. One syndrome we hear about a lot is called the sandwich generation. Here you are, 50 to 65. Your kids are coming home with a bunch of college debt. Your parents are getting sick. You may have lost your 401k in the 2008 crash, and you need to rebuild, and yet the workplace isn't welcoming to you. So that's what we're seeing. That sounds like a huge existential crisis to a whole generation, who half of which has less than $50,000 in the bank.
Right.
So we must keep working, and that brings us to hope. So your story is a very familiar one for us. You were a successful professional who did all the right things, it sounds like, and you progressed in your career. And suddenly you were forced out, finding a new path or career in your 50s.
Yes.
And whether the consequences are by blatant ageism, and we know what that is, or the more subtle unconscious bias that happens all the time that we are even party to. So first, the question is, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing much better. It took me 7 months to find this job, and it was really through luck that I was able to find this job. So I've just passed the 3-month mark, so I'm definitely feeling more settled. But, you can never let your guard down. I'm working for a startup, so there are all sorts of, uncertainties, involved with a startup. Are they going to be in business tomorrow?
Tell me about it.
No. But I'm hopeful. It's a good company. They have some terrific investors and such with a great product. So I'm certainly hopeful. But overall, though, there's always in my head, I have financial pressures because I'm earning far less than I was earning before. So I can just never really fully relax.
Right. Tell us about the online cycle of applying again and again. and what that was like.
Well, let me start out by saying my resume is certainly keyword optimized.
Yeah.
As everyone should be, because if it isn't, then you stand no chance of ever hearing from anybody. But so answering dozens upon dozens of ads for which I'm well qualified. I'm not just answering ads that I certainly don't have a chance of hearing from because I lack the qualifications. And the silence is just deafening. You just it goes into the black hole. And even worse, sometimes, even if I secured an interview, you don't necessarily hear back from the company one way or the other. And if you do hear back, it's a automated email that doesn't even come from the person that interviewed you. It just comes from the HR department, thanking you, and yes, you had excellent qualifications, but the field is very competitive. They have lots of excellent candidates, and we won't be moving forward with you. And you just repeatedly get these emails, and it's very demeaning, demoralizing, and of course, impersonal. And you just begin to feel that I have no worth. I don't have any worth after 30 years of working. I have, and for me, I am technologically up there with respect to my skills, having worked for a media company with proprietary technology that was state of the art.
Yeah.
So it's just overwhelmingly demeaning.
Yeah, and somebody who put the work into becoming up to date, getting everything right on the resume, using LinkedIn in a positive way, and then still hearing nothing is truly amazing. Well, we're really happy to hear that you've come out on the other end, and it sounds like the future could be brighter.
Thank you.
I know it was a struggle going through. So to wrap up, we always have to ask this question because we are who we are. I'll start with you, Kay. What's next for you? Or Hope, rather. What's next for you?
What's next for me? What's next for me is simply to, I recently turned 62, and I hope I can stick it out at this company for the next 4 years, if not longer.
Great.
But my goal is, I hope they make it and I make it there till I'm, another 4 years.
Great. Well, good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Senator Jackson, what's next for you?
Well, first, let me say I hope that Hope stays on as long as she wants to stay on, because quite frankly, Hope and Jeff, my wife worked for 35 years at the UN, and she retired in 2012. And I've been working ever since as long as I can remember, for the past 40 years. So I waited also, like Hope plans to do. I waited until I was 66 before collecting my Social Security. And my wife wanted to wait to age 70. And I said, no, let's look at the numbers. And so, no, I'm serious. You have to look at the numbers. And
you do.
So she took her pension retirement, Social Security at age 66 also. And she is 60, will be 68 in February. So I say that all of these are the type of things that Hope and myself and others, they think about and have to calculate what's best for themselves and their family. So for me, some people say to me, Jeff, okay, so what's the next step, meaning Congress? And I said, no, I'm not running for Congress. I'm needed in the New York State Senate. And I say that, Jeff, because if you know the internal politics in New York State Senate was basically Republican-led. I'm not going to use the word control. Republican-led for years and years. And now they are being led by the first woman ever to be elected in the New York State history for the state Senate, and who also happens to be a woman of color. And so I said that I'm needed in the New York State Senate. And as long as my constituents continue to send me there to fight for them, that's my next step. So other than that, I am not looking for anything else. As I said to you, when I look at my financial situation, myself, my wife is retired. She has a United Nations pension and she has Social Security. And I have Social Security. I have a salary from the state of New York, and I have another pension. So I'm not concerned. And that's why, Jeff, for me, what's the most important thing is to service my constituents to the best that I can. And that's what I'm attempting to do. And one of the aspects is to hold this mature workforce forum and job fair, number one. Put that aside for a second. Again, this evening, we're having an opioid crisis overall in our community. And as you know, that's nationwide. And so we're having experts and people that are involved in the field to come talk about the opioid crisis in our community in northern Manhattan. So the work is continuous, but I don't have any plans on retiring, not unless my constituents say, Senator Jackson, we had enough for you, and now we want somebody else.
I don't think that'll happen.
No. Well, I really look forward to meeting you all. I hope you can join us on Friday.
Yes, I will be there.
Oh, perfect. Okay, well, I'll jump on a plane tomorrow, and I'll be there, and I look forward to meeting you all, and thanks for your time today.
Great. Have a good trip.
Well, thank you, Jeff. Thanks you for having us, and we appreciate it very much, and I look forward to seeing you Friday.
All right.
Take
Goodbye
care.
now.
Bye.
If you'd like to get our news delivered right to your inbox, just sign up at nextforme.com.